everyone, and welcome back to the latest episode of The Grand Weaver. Before we jump in and I introduce my next guest to you, I need to share a little bit of context and a story behind how we met. A few weeks ago, I was in Nashville, and I prolonged my business trip so that I could record a couple of podcast episodes. And the gentleman I was going to record a podcast with that Friday ended up getting sick at the last minute. And so I was feeling a little bit discouraged because it was actually the second Friday in a row. The prior Friday, I got sick and I wasn't able to record an episode. This particular Friday, my guest got sick and I wasn't able to record an episode. And so I was a little frustrated, and I was pausing and I was praying and I was thinking maybe I should just take a nap. And a friend of mine texted me and said, "Hey, meet me at this cigar lounge in Franklin at 2. And so I thought, well, I probably shouldn't take a nap. Maybe I'll just head there a little bit early. And so at that moment, I thought, I should probably call an Uber. So I did. So I called this Uber, and this gentleman, Dick Wildeman, picked me up in the Uber. And Dick, when that happened, what did you share with me as you were picking me up?
I don't remember what I said exactly, but you said you're involved in a nonprofit. So I started talking about our nonprofit. My wife and I have a small nonprofit called St. Joseph Worker Foundation, and we help the poor in Haiti. So I started on that, and you unfortunately were a willing listener, so I kept talking a lot.
Yeah. How I remember it happening, when you picked me up, you said, "Hey, I'm actually just about to get off the clock. I was headed back towards home." And you shared with me that you were retired. And the reason that you drive was to support your nonprofit in Haiti. And I was like, really? Well, that's fascinating. So that was pretty interesting, because just a few minutes before that, I was feeling a little discouraged and going, well, I extended my trip. I was hoping to have a few guests this week, and the first time I've ever had an Uber driver that I'm aware of, and I've been in a fair amount of Ubers, that is driving Uber to support their nonprofit in Haiti. So I was kind of blown away by that whole interaction. And so with that, I was definitely a willing listener, and ultimately invited you onto the podcast because I would love for you to share your story. And so maybe if we could just even get started with, how did you get started with this nonprofit back in the day?
It started out being a dumb idea as far as I was concerned. I wanted nothing to do with it. My history is I was a Catholic priest for 25 years until celibacy got more challenging than it needed to be. And I made the tough decision to leave and get married. I had fallen in love with Jane, who is my wife now. Mm-hmm. But at that time, I was an associate pastor with another priest. And as we're walking downstairs to our parish council meeting, he said, "Oh, by the way, there's going to be a man here doing a presentation on adopting a parish in Haiti." And I thought it was the dumbest idea I'd ever heard. We had important stuff to discuss. Why are we wasting our time with this nonsense? Well, the guy was terribly unimpressive. He spoke with a lisp. He went on for 45 minutes instead of the 30 we had allowed him. But I was so taken by what he said that I was planning to go to Haiti, whether the parish agreed to do anything for Haiti or not. Mm-hmm. Well, 2 months later, I got to Haiti, and this is back in 1984 when there are men with machine guns all over the airport. And I came in thinking, oh my God, what on earth did I get into? The guy who was supposed to pick me up wasn't there. My friend immediately showed up. There are lots of friends in Haiti that you don't know you have until you get there. He was willing to give me a ride, and he said, "Wait here." So he went and got me, and we got in the car. I didn't tell you all this story, but we got in the car, and we drove out of the airport immediately into a gas station. He put in $1 worth of gas. Now, back then, that was a whole lot more than it is now. But we took off driving, and I tried my best to communicate the address. but unfortunately, it did not quite get through. And finally, after we had been driving a while, I got a written copy and showed it to him, and he was ticked off. He'd been going the wrong way. So anyway, he goes the right way, and we're going up this hill to mountains around Port-au-Prince, going up this hill, and his car dies. And he has to back up and pull over and restart it. He had to start the car to get to the airport to start with. So anyway, we get up there, and finally he takes off in a lower gear, and he's revving this thing for all it's worth. Finally, we get up there, and I gave him a whole lot more money than he asked for, just to relief that I was there. So then, the next morning, I was supposed to leave at 5 o'clock. I think I was supposed to be at the bus station at 5 o'clock. Now, every word it does not communicate well. The guy was ticked off at me because I was 5 minutes late. Okay. Anyway, we get to the buses. I'll say that I didn't see any station. They were just parked there. And he finds the one that's going where I want to go, to Cap Haitian. And it cost me $4 to get on the bus. And I'm the last person to get on the bus. So the guy managing the back gets out, lets me get in. I have two bags on top of me. They're flexible. And so they wanted to put them on top of the bus, but I refused to part with them. We take off and stop about a block down the road. We pick up somebody else. And every time we pick somebody up, the guy next to me gets out. I have to turn my legs sideways because there's no way to get past me. They crawl in. I get back. He gets in, and we take off. This happened at least 10 times in the first mile. I'm thinking, oh my God, are we ever going to get there? We get on the road. Finally, the guy is driving 80 kilometers an hour down this highway. And we go through, every small town has two sets of speed bumps. And that right after the first one is the police post. And the driver is holding up one finger each time. It didn't take me too long to figure out that he was talking about me. We finally get halfway there to a town of Gonaive, and we stop for a break, and people come up with baskets full of snacks to the windows of the bus, trying to sell them to the people on the bus. A few people get off, go behind a building to relieve themselves. I didn't know quite how that worked, but I stayed on. We took off, went up over a mountain, and this is all kinds of switchbacks and all that, back down again. We finally come into Cap Haitian, although I didn't know that's what it was. There were these double stone entryways going in. I don't know what you call them, but we just get through them, and they stop the bus, pull me off, and the bus takes off. I have no idea where I am. I have no idea what's happening. But the police pulled me off and took me into their office. The bus went another 100 yards and stopped. That was as far as it was going to go. But I had to get off before it got there. They wanted my name, my number, and where I was staying. Well, the number at this time, all you had to have was a passport, a birth certificate, or a voter registration to get back into the country. Mm-hmm. What I discovered was what I found easiest was the voter registration. I was close to that. So I have it, and I show the guy my voter registration. It has 4 digits. That's not enough digits. He needs more. He doesn't know what to do. He's writing this down in a notebook, just plain old ordinary notebook in pencil. My name, my number, and where I'm staying. Mm-hmm. Well, anyway, they finally accepted my 4 digits. I walk back out and wonder what I'm going to do. But my friend was there immediately. He said, "You need a ride." So he goes and gets his friend, and I get a ride. And they take me to a place called Collège Notre Dame College. And college in Haiti refers to a school. It does not refer to a university.
Mm-hmm.
So this was both elementary and secondary, which would be high school.
Mm-hmm.
But it's up on the side of the mountain, so you're overlooking the whole town. And it was fabulous to be up there and see all this. It's total culture shock. I mean, all the sounds of the people walking and the market down below and bartering and the bay right out there, the Cap, Haitian, the Cape. So anyway, so I had a wonderful night there, although there's absolutely no one who spoke English. So the next day, I'm going to get a ride. Don Ray, the American who came and did the terrible presentation to introduce me to Haiti, is there to take me to this place called Dupity, a parish in the middle of nowhere. And he doesn't come. But this short little black guy comes up. Now, everybody in Haiti is black. So a short little Haitian comes up to me, and he said, "Are you Dick Wildeman?" And I said, "Well, yes." And he said, "I'm here to get you." And I said, "I'm waiting for Don Ray." And he said, "No, I'm here to take you to Don Ray." So I get it. I had no idea that this man was going to become my best friend in Haiti. It was just a dear, dear person. He was my interpreter every trip I went to Haiti, and I've been going ever since and lived there for a couple of years with him, working with him. Mm-hmm. Anyway, a dear, dear friend. His name was Joachim Robois-Manatua. And in case you can't remember that, everybody simply called him Tijois. Joachim is Joachim, basically. And in Haiti, when I was a kid, they called me Dickie. And in Haiti, it's the other way around. It's, if you could put the IE at the beginning, but they say Tijois. So he became Tijois to everybody. And he I'm sorry, he unfortunately died several years ago, but he was just a dear man who taught me to love Haiti because he loved Haiti. He loved the people, he loved the mountains, he loved everything about Haiti. He took me to a small town. All these words don't work real well in Haiti. A village along a river. And we're waiting. And I had no idea what for, but we hear these people singing up on the mountain. Mm. And they come down the mountain, they cross the river and come over, and they give me an official salute. I have no idea what that is or how to respond, but it's two groups. One is the Kyros, the Greek symbol for Christ. It is the name of the youth group, and they're all in blue pants or skirts and white shirts. And then the scouts, not quite like our Boy Scouts, but something comparable. And they're in tan uniforms like that, and both kind of a explorer group. They're both girls and guys. Mm-hmm. Well, they give me the official salute, and I don't know what to do, but I say hi. She was interpreting for me, and I'm thrilled to be here. I'm looking forward to seeing Dupity. Let's go. They give me a horse. These folks each get an orange. I don't know where they got them, but anyway, they got an orange. And then they started marching in front of me. And it was single file on the trail because the trail's not that wide. So we go on, and we're marching for hours, well over 3 hours. But all of a sudden, the road gets wider. They've been working on the road here. The Boy Scouts are double file in front. The Kyros are double file in back. And I'm on my horse, and Don Ray's with me on his, and we're marching into the village. Now, it's tiny, and we're doing this on the hills and all that. And there's a place with poles and palm leaves. That's the market. That's just a place to provide some shade for people to trade and barter. Up above us is a flat area, which is the playground. The school is there. The church is right in front of us, the steeple. Up above that even is the rectory where the priest lives. Well, we're marching through. The people are singing. The kids come out. They're applauding and singing. The dogs are barking. The bells are ringing. It's incredible. Don Ray turns to me and says, all we need are the palm branches.
Yeah.
So we march on in, and they're all double file in front of me now. And I walk up between them up to greet the pastor. And I was terribly unprepared for this whole thing. I had no idea what I was supposed to do or whatever, but an incredible welcome. They had no idea who I was or why I was there. And they had this huge celebration. Within the next week, I got to know a bunch of them. And I went, there were 3 chapels or missions, and every other day we went to one of them. And at one of them, they had this group from an entertainment group from the village who were singing and dancing. They had branches from the trees. They're waving them around us as we come in. And I asked Tijwa what they were saying, and he said, even the trees dance for joy to welcome you as you come. So didn't get the palm branches, but I got the trees branches. Yeah. It was incredible. While I was there, I received gifts. A man came up with 2 eggs, and he apologized that his chicken didn't lay very regularly, but he hoped I would accept his gift of 2 eggs. This is just killing me. This guy, is giving me what he's surviving on. Mm-hmm. Another guy offered me a glass of milk or a cup of coffee. I don't drink coffee. I took the coffee. There is no refrigeration. I didn't know what I was going to get if I asked for milk. So I did my best to drink the milk. But what an incredible time to meet with people, hear their stories. Yeah. In this one village, they said, we need a roof so our children can go to school when it rains, because all they had were the palm leaves. We need a cemetery because we have to carry them 2 hours over the mountains to bury them at the closest cemetery. And they said, we need a doctor. We need medical care. Well, fortunately, I was able to make a donation after I got home from all the folks in the parish. Mm-hmm. They were quite generous. They were able to put in a floor and a roof, so that they could, a tin roof, so that they could at least kids could go to school when it rained. They could celebrate Mass there and those kind of things. Mm-hmm. The pastor bought a small property where they could do the burials, have a cemetery, and he arranged for a nurse to come in on a regular basis to do health care for them. So it was just so rewarding to be able to do something like that.
So it's remarkable. If I could just jump in and just ask.
Sure.
So a bad presentation by a guy that came to your parish, not at all knowing what to expect when you got to Haiti. It wasn't like you really knew that culture or even maybe why you were going there. Help me share a little bit about what was going on in your mind. Was this just so clear that God was calling you to Haiti, or how did you even get to the point of stepping out? You mentioned that you knew that regardless of whether your parish was supporting you or not, you needed to go. But maybe if you could just share a little bit about that decision that is leading to this beautiful story that you're sharing. I'd love to hear that.
As I said, at that point, I had been a priest for at least 10 years. I can't remember exactly how many, but missionary work had never appealed to me at all. I had no interest in going anywhere else. I mean, great for all the people who do, but that's not me. That's not for me at all. And man, I saw these images in the slides that Don Ray presented, and I was just totally taken by it. I don't know what it was, but seeing people living in those circumstances, and when I got there, I realized that what I was seeing was people who were very simple, who had nothing, knew everything was a gift from God, and were happy. Mm-hmm. I thought I was going there to give them something, and yet, I got more than they did. I mean, I got back to the roots of what being a Christian is all about.
Yeah.
I learned what it meant to preach the gospel. When Jesus told all his stories, his parables, these were people who couldn't read or write, but they remembered stories. I mean, they could repeat the stories verbatim, practically. They never lost that. They had a tradition of telling stories like that to communicate their culture, their history, their people. So anyway,
that's beautiful. And so that progressed. And so that first experience, what did that turn into? What did that lead to?
Well, that was just a one-time trip. I was never going to do this again. But toward the end of my visit there for a week with the parish, the pastor said, "When are you coming back next year?" And I had not considered it, but I started considering it then and started planning for it. And we called it, it wasn't just me, they called it Love Sunday, because when I arrived, that's what we were celebrating, the love between the two parishes, the two communities of faith who were supporting one another in prayer and both trying to help each other with the gifts they had. So I came back the next year and the next year, and other things were going on. I was working on getting some of them to come up and visit us. It was It was easier then than it is now. Now, our government has made it very difficult for anybody to come. But then it was easier, and we got a bunch of people to come up, and they came to our parish and visited, and we took them around and showed them everything, and let them see the children in the school and celebrate Mass with us. The people were just dumbfounded when this talented woman got up and just sang beautifully for the whole congregation. She was amazing. Taught us all a song, and it was fabulous. When they were leaving, I asked them, "What are you going to tell the people when you get home?" And one of them said, "I'm a teacher, and I saw an elephant at the zoo. I know what it is now. I had never, before it had just been an idea. Now it's something real." Another said, "I will remember the tears of the children when we were leaving." Pardon me, that still gets me a little bit.
Yeah.
That they were so moved. Our children were so moved by their presence there that they were moved to tears. They were just, it was a wonderful experience. Love expressed despite no language. I mean, a language of love somehow.
Yeah.
I got into doing this every year, and on the third year, the pastor said, "Oh, by the way, I've got these 3 kids who are really good students, but they can't afford to go to school, to what we call high school." And so he said, "Could you help them?" And I said, "Sure." So I started helping them. And the next year, there were a few more. So when I went home, I asked other people, "Could you help me help these students?" And of course they would. So it got up to close to 100 students at one time, which was more than I could manage. It was a lot to do. I was sending money, communicating both ways, letters going back and forth, doing the translations from English to Creole, Haitian Creole. I gradually learned that so I could do that. It's back down to about 30 now that we do on a regular basis. But anyway, that student sponsor program has continued. But in addition to that, there's always constant requests for medical needs, to be able to pay for the medical needs they have, and for just basic survival. I checked my list before we got together today. I have 15, at least 15 right now, waiting One's asking for a loan because he's going to bed hungry at night, and he's got an education. We gave him training and tools. He can now install drywall, which is something new in Haiti. They're not doing a lot of it, but there's no jobs, and the jobs that do exist, the people who have them don't want to give them up or don't want to share them. That's the problem with all the folks we get educated. They can't get a job, but we're still working with a lot of older students, not older students, but former students who are struggling to do something with their education. They're talented, but just few opportunities. So helping with emergency assistance, loans, rent, medical needs. Someone's grandfather needs surgery. A single mother is pleading because she's got a baby and isn't able to feed it. On one of my first trips, we did a tour of the hospital, and I was dumbfounded when I walked through the maternity ward. I didn't know you could do that. In Haiti, you can. And after this guy kind of attached himself to us and walked with us and told us things as we were walking around. He was just a kid. But anyway, when we got done, he asked for $4. And we asked what that was about. And he said, my baby doesn't eat, or my wife doesn't eat enough to feed our baby. So we need to buy formula, and I need $4. The thought of this kid getting up in the morning, and he's a kid to me, trying to find a way to come up with $4 so he could feed his daughter. I was just dumbfounded at the challenges these people face, and anyway, somehow in their faith, they know God's going to provide. So,
yeah, and what jumped out to me was, getting in an Uber, not expecting the conversation that was going to unfold between you and I, and you just simply sharing your heart. Hey, I'm retired, but I drive Uber because I want to support my little nonprofit. And as I was sharing a little bit about this podcast that God's called me to start and raise awareness for, I remember you saying it's a small nonprofit. That's okay. And so my question to you is, what's your heart for St. Joseph Worker Foundation? Where do you, as you're serving faithfully on the front lines and driving Uber so that you can support the students that you have currently and meet some of these needs, what's the dream? What's the expanded vision for that? I'd love to hear that.
Well, when I was a priest, I had ready access to that whole congregation out there, looking at me every Sunday. And they were incredibly generous and responsive, both to help as a parish and to help individually with particular students. I'm not in a parish anymore. I don't have that ready access, so it's hard to me to find sponsors. And the sponsors who have been helping have been there forever. They deeply appreciate hearing from the students. Students write letters, and they're amazing in what they say, telling their stories. But it's hard to find the sponsors now. And I've asked everybody I know twice or 3 times or 4 times if they were at all interested. And then all the immediate needs. Some people just give me money, not as opposed as a, how do I say this? Some are sponsoring students, so they're giving me money for that specific purpose, and others just give me money to help. And all these things I'm talking about, the extra needs, those are the ones that are hard to respond to. Okay. But some people help us on a regular basis. Doesn't amount to a whole lot, but they give us something, and it's all a gift. And it's a whole lot more in Haiti than it ever is here. So I shared this story of our interaction with a friend, and her response was, "Oh, I'm so thankful to hear about somebody who is on the front lines in Haiti, because they know the challenges that are being faced in Haiti. They know that there are so many organizations that have pulled out of Haiti because of the political climate and all of the things." And so one of the things that I want to share with listeners as they're listening to this particular episode is, if you have a heart for Haiti and you have no idea how to help,
right? I just want to encourage you to pray about maybe coming alongside Dick in the ministry that he has in Haiti, because he is on the ground in Haiti and he has connections in Haiti. And so if you want to participate in that and not sure how, this is a great opportunity. And so any other things you want to add to that?
Well, one of my plugs is 100% of every donation goes exactly where it's intended.
Yeah.
I cover all costs of my transportation, my everything I do. My challenge every year is having enough money to go to Haiti, not to pay for it, but because everybody under the sun is going to come and ask. And it is so hard to pronounce that 2-letter English word spelled N-O. When you don't have or just simply can't, just the promise to pray for them is incredible. It means a whole lot to them. I mean, they are incredibly grateful that I care enough to come, first of all. Mm-hmm. And they know it's not safe to come. And the fact that I did means that, means the world to them. But and that I keep coming. That they know it's not a one-time thing. And you're right about everybody else. All the gang violence around the Port-au-Prince area has made it unsafe for people to go through Port-au-Prince, particularly. I flew into Camp Haitian, stayed just a couple of days with a very low profile so people didn't see me, and left just to take money down and to see the folks I know quickly. Unfortunately, normally I like to spend more time and be there more, but it's just not safe to do that right now. But anyway, helping us through the foundation would be wonderful. stjosephworker.org. So,
yeah. And so the little part of the story I want to share with you. So you dropped me off. So we were headed from downtown Nashville to Franklin, and headed to this cigar lounge called Papa P's to meet my friend Huli. And so Huli and I got together that afternoon, and we're sitting in the cigar lounge after you dropped me off, and we're spitballing around different nonprofits we might have conversations with, and Huli can't really remember any of his nonprofit friends, and then this Uli walks in and starts chatting with Huli, and he goes, "Oh wait, you have a nonprofit? Oh yeah, I work with these cosmetology schools in Nicaragua." Oh, and so Yuli sits down and starts sharing about his nonprofit. I start sharing about the call for me to share the stories of nonprofits. Tears are flowing back and forth. And then Yuli says, "Oh, you need to talk to Aaron," and invites this guy, Aaron, over. It's 2:00 on a Friday in a cigar lounge. And Aaron sits down and shares about the nonprofit that he works with around human trafficking. And then we have our conversation, and he says, "Oh, you need to talk to Tim," and calls Tim over from the corner. And Tim has 3 nonprofits. And so we end up having this Friday afternoon conversation. And so now I'm looking back and going, okay, the episode recording that didn't happen, but then it was replaced by an interaction with and a meeting with you as an Uber driver, and then 3 other guys that run nonprofits at a cigar lounge on a Tuesday in Franklin, Tennessee. Like, okay, all right. We hear that God has better plans than we have, and then, in the midst of our frustration or our disappointment, or scratching our heads and going, "Hey, I showed up. I thought I was being faithful," and then "I got something better for you." Just like hearing your whole story about going to Haiti that first time, right? And God's got something better in store than we could ever imagine.
I'll just tell you one more thing. You may see the mountains in the background here. I have a favorite mountain, Mount Sneffels. These are in southwestern Colorado, the San Juan Mountains. Primarily are my favorites. I went out there when I graduated from high school, fell in love with the mountains, climbed Mount Sneffels, 14,150 feet above sea level. Just nothing around you anywhere near where you are, and just my own insignificance. I just felt overwhelmed by the presence of God there, and by my own call to respond. That was a big turning point in my life. And the second major one would be my encounter with the people of Haiti. It's just transformed my life in ways I could never have imagined, and it's still with me, still calling more out of me and giving me more. So anyway.
Yeah, if you could share maybe a final word with those who might be listening that felt a hug, a tug, or a call to missions that maybe started in the same way you did, which is that's just not for me. Maybe if you could just share a little bit of encouragement for those who might be in that place right now.
Well, Haiti is the kind of a place where you cannot remain unchanged when you go there. There are slums, there are terrible conditions, there are beautiful people, full of faith and love, and compassion for those around them. You don't have to worry about your kids playing; they're all taken care of. The community takes care of them. They're not going to be hurt. It's a safe environment. That's really amazing. In the mountains. I don't know about Port-au-Prince. That's a little earth, but you can't not be changed. You may never want to see it again. It may be a bad thing. A bad experience. I heard of those. One who came one day, saw it immediately, got on a plane and left the next. But overwhelmingly, people are just, I don't know quite how to say it, but they just fall in love with the people, with the culture, with the simplicity, with the faith, with the simple happiness and joy in life and beauty of people. I've heard the same thing from people who have gone to Honduras, to Nicaragua, to other places. Mm-hmm. It is the experience of third world that transforms us and makes us better people for having been there.
Yeah.
So, yes, do it. You won't regret it. You won't regret it.
Transforms our perspectives. I had a guest the other day, and she said a beautiful phrase, and she said, "You never know what God has in store for us on the other side of our obedience." Mm-hmm. And that phrase really captured me, because she was sharing the call that she had to start the nonprofit that she had, and the wild journey that it's been. And mm-hmm. you're sharing today on the other side of your obedience when it could have easily gone the other way. Mm-hmm. And just how beautiful it's been, this unfolding of your journey and your story. And not only have you been changed, but I trust that there have been many lives in Haiti that have been changed because of your obedience and your faithfulness, that God has used you to be a blessing.
People there and people here, people who have joined me on trips down there, but people who have heard the stories when I've come back, and I can't help but tell them I keep going and going. But anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, again, thank you for joining me today on the podcast. And it is St. Joseph Worker Foundation. We will have all the information on the website in terms of how to get in touch with Dick if you feel called to support what they're doing there. And we would love to just overflowingly bless what you're able to do there and support the needs, so that you have to say no much, much less than you have to do today. So we'd love for that to happen.
Thank you.
And whether or not you need to keep driving for Uber or not, I'm not sure, but great opportunity for you to keep sharing your story. So thank you so much. And until next time.
I've enjoyed being here. Thank you, Eric. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.